Let me ask you a question. If your three passions in life, right? Liverpool football, Pittsburgh Penguins hockey, and rock and roll. Where do you rank them, top to bottom?
Where would I rate them in order?
On your personal tastes.
Oh, I don't think I'd rate them in order. I mean, I think that's unfair to my preference for all of them. I got to be honest. Like I said before, I used to like wrestling. I hate it now. And that's no offense to those who are still involved.
Give me the main reasons. Give me the three main reasons.
The main reason is the tribalism and hostility to fans. Okay, the AEW versus everybody crowd. Okay, and the assumption that AEW is Mid-South Wrestling in its prime when all they do is bring in new people and have so-called dream matches that somehow I've never dreamt about. Okay, and you know their whole thing is based on the element of surprise. I talked to an AEW wrestler the other day, and I said, so-and-so is not on TV enough. And he said back to me, nobody's on TV enough. And this notion that you can rotate guys in and out and they can be stars, I don't recall Ric Flair being rotated off TV. I don't recall Hulk Hogan being rotated off TV. I don't recall Randy Savage being rotated off TV. Konnan, I don't recall you being rotated off TV. Disco, you were rotated off TV. And I thought that was a good idea at the time. But you know, it's just, you know, I like a lot of their product, and there's a lot of people on there that I like, but I just see the holes, and nobody wants to allow me to see the cracks. Whereas with WWE, I mean, I think we're going to be amazed by how many people go from AEW to WWE when their contracts are up, and then that'll poke a few holes in the balloon. Like I think MJF is a lock to leave, an absolute lock. And I know people think him teasing his free agency is a work, and maybe it is, but I don't think so. What do you guys think?
He's young, probably grew up a WWE fan, and he's probably in a position where he's like, I could go there right now and be a major player and everything. It's just me personally. You know, I'm looking at like what can happen if you're part of the WWE system. The Rock becomes the biggest movie star in Hollywood. You know,
I mean, here's the thing,
like if the WWE Hall of Famer, becomes a president of the United States. It's just like
how Max grew up as a WWE fan, which he did, but more importantly, he grew up a Roddy Piper fan.
Right.
Okay, and that's where Roddy Piper worked.
Right. Well, not only that, I saw that interview with Ariel Helwani. Did you see that one?
With MJF?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Yeah, I want to call him and try to get him on the show because he's very, very, very opinionated and he ain't afraid to talk. And I get along with him really good. But so what he was saying on that show, and at first I was thinking to myself, wow, very smart, to let Tony know that for you to, because this is what he said. He said, I met, and I was there when this happened. He said, I met Bruce Pritchard when I was in MLW, and he was a big fan of my work. And I know for a fact that they're interested in me. I can't tell you how I know that, but he says
I know for a fact they're interested in him too. And I can't tell you how I know it either, but they are for sure.
Right.
They're interested in Sammy Guevara a great deal too. Although I think Sammy's contract runs out the same time as Max's, I think. So although I don't know, I think Sammy would be less likely to go. I think Max is a lock to go.
Right. And so anyways, he was basically saying, they said, well, what if they wanted to re-sign you right now? He said, no, I'm not re-signing. He says it would take an incredible amount of money. And he goes, well, how much? And he goes, whoever's making the most money now, I want to make more than that. And I know I can make that in WWE. And then later I read this thing where supposedly, and I don't know if this happened or not, Tony Khan kind of called them out on that promo, which, if my top star was talking like that too, I'd probably say, hey, what the bro, I'm putting you on TV every week and you're saying this type of
No, he wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't. You know what he was mad at? That he just went on his show.
Oh, is that
like MJF did not go through the office or nothing. Ariel called I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay.
That was supposed to be the point of contention.
How can Tony Khan say that when guys work indies all the time for him?
Yeah, that's true.
And he ain't going to get mad at anybody. He would never pull Max off TV. No chance. He'd never pull anybody off TV.
Well, what if he does this? What if he is petty, though? And what if this is like Max's whole thing, his shtick is like, I'm going to WO. He's got like a year and a half left. What if it's going to prevent him from ever like reaching the level which he should be the champion of AEW?
Yeah, I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, but what if they don't push him where he could go, where he should be because of this.
So what if Tony Khan becomes a wrestling promoter all of a sudden and a boss instead of a friend to all his employees? Yeah, gee, what if that happened?
And that's exactly what he said. The old Scott Hall line. He goes, "This isn't the friends business. This is show business." He goes, I'm going to try to make it.
Prove it by Tony. Tony's in it for the relationships he has with wrestlers because he's a fan first and foremost. That doesn't make him a bad person, but it's just what it is. You can see that from afar. Don't you guys agree?
Right.
Yeah. And Cody Rhodes wasn't signing his contract, and he stayed on TV to the last day. So
it's true.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, but I think I get along with Max. Although recent events, and not just Rick either, have proven you never know who you're friends with in wrestling.
Right.
But I'd be afraid, even if I am friends with Max, I'd be afraid to have him on my show because he would turn on me just for fun.
Big time, yeah.
He's a great guy. You'll love him.
I like him a lot too. I really funny. Do. But and plus, which too, you know what else scares me about him, Konnan?
Yeah,
he's fairly close to as smart as me, and that I couldn't outsmart him in that context.
Right.
I could, but it would be I'd have to work for it.
Right.
What's your IQ?
166. You know that.
What do you think Glenn's is? If you had to guess, Mark,
I would say 5.
Wow.
Maybe.
That's low.
Mark, do you know there are 12 people in AEW making more money than MJF? So when he says he's legitimately not signing a new deal, that's actually true.
Oh, I know. I know it is. And here's something I've heard, Billy, and maybe you can confirm.
12 people.
I've heard if you take AEW's TV money, you know what they get from Turner?
Yeah.
The entirety of it is paid to 14 people on the roster.
That was my story. I think that was my story here. I said that.
Was it 14? Is that the number?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is absurd.
14 people make $2 million or more.
What I don't like about it, getting back to not liking the wrestling business, I really had high hopes for W.
Yeah.
But they've strayed from what the original vision, at least what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be guys who were underused by WWE and guys from the indies that were, never given a chance, and that would be the basis of the promotion. And now all of a sudden Punk shows up and Bryan Danielson shows up. And by the way, I kind of got blamed because Rick got heat for saying that AJ Styles was better than Bryan Danielson. Okay.
You got heat for that?
I got all kinds of heat for saying that. Well, okay, but you said it. Anyway, but and that's no knock on Punk and Danielson. That just wasn't what I turned on AEW to see guys recycled who were already stars up there. And they just have far too many people, and it's just not what I hoped it would be. I'll give you a small case in point. I like Jurassic Express, with Marco Stunt, with the dinosaur, and I really think Jungle Boy's great and Marco Stunt. I thought that was a good act. I thought Marco Stunt was a good fit, and now they get rid of him, and basically Christian Cage is the new Marco Stunt. No knock on Christian Cage. They just didn't need Christian Cage. And it took apart and reassembled one of their original acts, recycling a WWE guy. And no offense to Christian Cage, but that's just not why I turned on the TV to watch that program.
Yeah.
Right. And they do all sort of random, entourages that would never hang out together and have no chemistry. Like Christian, Luchasaurus, and what's the other guy? Jungle Boy. Like there's no chemistry there. Why are they together? Just like
what Butcher and the Blade?
Butcher, Blade, and the Private Party guys with Matt Hardy.
Right.
And then Andrade and Jose joined that little fracas.
Right. You got Butcher, who wears an apron with blood on, and he's hanging out with the cool black guys.
Right. Yeah, it looks like he's making bread or some. And then the other guy, then they got that other group with the Dark Order, bro. One guy with a 10 here. They are going like this. Colt Cabana's in there for some odd reason. They got 2 hot chicks, one which is sometimes there and sometimes she's not there. And it's like, who are these people? Then they got another team, which is like Trent Beretta, sometimes his mom, Wheeler, Utah, and Chucky.
The group's called Best Friends, and all of a sudden there's 10 people in it. You don't have 10 best friends.
Yeah. And Danhausen, doing trances. It's
curses.
It's too much.
Right.
It's too much. And here was the classic moment with AEW for me. And it feels like we're, pounding on them. I mean, there's still a lot about it I like too, but this is, what we're talking about. Remember when they had the Battle Royal with 15 different tag teams in it?
Right.
Yes. I tweeted
2 weeks in a row.
I tweeted the plug for that match, and I said, tell me you have too many people without telling me you have too many people.
Right. No, here was the best part. It was 2 weeks in a row, and some of the guys that were in the first Battle Royal were in the Battle Royal the second week. So I don't know. I didn't understand that. And this is just on a personal thing for me. Why was LAX wearing face paint? Like, they should only wear that.
Let me don't get me started there. Forgive the interruption, Konnan.
Yeah.
They have underused Santana and Ortiz criminally. I mean, they barely have wrestled. If I were them, I don't know when their contract's up, but I'd get out of Dodge.
Me too.
Yeah. And don't forget, there are some guys there that are content to not wrestle. And that kind of maybe smooths out the backstage atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. I'm not crazy about WWE's product either, but it's more coherent and cohesive and flows better.
Well, it's more detail-oriented and professional. You can tell the production machine they have set up is just like geared towards it. I described this perfectly.
Well, they got a 40-year head start.
Bro. Well, plus they're very good at storytelling, but the stories just sometimes stink. But the telling of the story is done very structured and very well there especially with their packages, because their video packages are just like the glaring difference between the two companies, the two TV products between AEW and WWE is that their video production is like as good as anything on TV.
You know what it feels like in AEW? Like you got a big paycheck and you went and you did too much groceries, and like now you have all this food that you're not going to eat. Yeah, but like he has all this talent, and it's
he
doesn't even know what to do with it.
You're right. It's like why did I buy 15 pounds of hamburger?
No,
right.
It's like when a girl buys shoes. And she's got a closet full of shoes, and she only wears the shoes. Like she has one pair she wears 4 times, another pair she wears, but 90% of the shoes she wears one time or doesn't wear them all.
You see, if I could just get one thing back to my not defunct podcast that I've been fired from. Whenever I'd bring stuff like this up, Rick would just not criticize it because he thinks he's going to work at some company someday.
Right.
You know what I mean? Vince McMahon is the greatest man I've ever known. He's the best wrestling mind ever. I owe so much to him. You know what I mean? Yeah, okay, we get it.
Right.
Do you think that with AEW was a case of, okay, so they had to start their company with a bunch of people, but they didn't know that this guy would come available and this guy would come available. Look, you don't know you're going to be able to sign Punk, and when you can, you have to have him. Same with Moxley, same with Bryan. You really have to have these guys. But do you think that now they have them, that if say, for example, they had the option tomorrow to say, okay, we can have a 60-person roster. We don't need to have these 100+ people. We can have down to 60. If they trim down to 60, do you think Tony would pick the ex-WWE and NXT stars and we would see all of these Marco Stunts and all these guys gone? Or do you think there would be, we're going to keep the top ex-WWE guys and we're going to get rid of the Matt Hardys and the guys like that? How do you think it would work?
I think it would depend on whoever Tony's friends and fans of.
Right.
I'll tell you this.
But here's the thing, and again, I don't want to knock Punk and Danielson, but the ratings not gone up since they got there. It has been the exact same thing, fluctuating just on either side of a million. Now, it's helped their pay-per-view buy rates, I'm sure, because their fans tend to spend a lot. And it's helped their merchandise, too, for the same reason. So, again, I can't totally bury getting them. It's all personal preference, bro.
I've got the answer.
Well, it isn't a route, and it isn't about even burying, because even – I've said this story before, but I don't think you've heard it before, Mark. When I was in AEW, MJF actually he goes, I can't believe that they hired you because, you bury the company. And I go, incorrect, dude. I bury what's whack and I put over what's good. And there is a difference.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
People hate me for it.
Well, they're only
they're only listening to what they want to hear.
Another thing, like I love like Punk and Bryan. I don't care if they're moving numbers or not. I enjoyed them in WWE. But harking back to what Mark said, the fan base ruined it for me because when they signed Punk and Bryan, that's great for me because I get to watch Punk and Bryan, right? But then when they're making these comparisons and saying, oh, it's just like signing Hall and Nash, it's like, dude, were you actually there? Do you understand what happened when you signed Hall and Nash? Do you understand how big that was? Do you understand how many people were watching?
They obviously don't.
I used to go to college, and people that weren't watching wrestling were now watching wrestling. That's such a big difference Like, how can you be so stupid to say that, oh, well, this is the same as signing Hall and Nash? That's what ruins it for me.
I can tell you how, because you're a mark, not you. But
right.
saying that, signing Punk and Danielson didn't have 0.1% the impact that signing Hall and Nash did to WCW.
Right.
As a witness, the AEW rating has not gone up. WCW overtook WWE.
And bro, and you know what's their biggest mistake? And me and Disco pinpointed this the very first time they did it, Mark, and I think you'll agree. When they brought Punk in and they brought Danielson in, they should have been facing each other, not Lee Moriarty and Daniel Garcia or Peter Avalon, whoever the they were fighting. It's like, bro, you don't bring in Khabib to fight Joe Schmo.
That's right. That's right.
You don't bring Michael Chandler over from Bellator and rank him number 17.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you put him right in the mix,
That ties into a lot of the stuff they do that doesn't make sense. Like when Sammy Guevara got the TNT title, there's a big surprise opponent for Sammy Guevara tonight. It's Jay Lethal. Oh my God. How is Sammy ever going to beat somebody as good as Jay Lethal? I mean, give me a break.
Yeah.
Right.
I got a point that I want to make about what we were talking previously about a couple minutes ago. Is that you said that whether he's when guys come available, you got to sign them and stuff and all that.
Oh, you know.
No. But here's what I'm saying. This is what he's going through right now. It's a guy that's never done this before. Okay, so he had his roster. Guys become available. Okay, we got to sign them. Now you're 2.5 years in. He's never done this before, and it's like, I got to cut some people now. I've never had to cut people. Who do I cut? And it's like I'm looking. It's like, bro, the guy can't even pull the trigger on cutting people.
Well,
it's like, what are you doing? You're the one you're cutting is Marco Stunt.
Billy, how many people did you say are on the roster?
Billy,
how many people did you say are on AEW's roster right now?
Oh, over 100 people, I think.
That's absurd. I mean, you don't need, like you said, 60 is a good number, 50 is a good number.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Somebody told me
and
that
Mark,
on Rampage on a 42-minute show this past weekend, on Rampage on Friday night, they had 50 performers on screen during the 42 minutes of the 42-minute show.
Yeah.
50 people.
I think one of the things that we said here that you have to one terminology you have to remove is have to. You have to fire. I don't have to eat the food in my fridge. I can afford to throw it away. This guy doesn't have to fire anybody. The $7 billion that he has, this is a hobby, right? At the end of the day, he could just continue to pay everybody. He can have 200 people and he can pay them all $500,000 and it's still not going to affect his money. So this isn't a legitimate business. And that's one of the things that we need to get out of our heads where we say, oh, you have to fire people. You only have to hire people for the political issue, the political reasons of keeping everybody happy. That's why you may need to fire everybody. For financial reasons, it doesn't make any difference at all whether this company makes money or not.
Billy, I could not have put it better. The AEW is a fan indulging his hobby. A rich fan indulging his hobby, period. And that doesn't mean it's not fun to watch. That doesn't mean there aren't good elements of it, but that's what it is. It's not a business, not run like a business remotely.
No.